Jared French, a painter whose life and work remain shrouded in mystery, presents a fascinating challenge to both art historians and enthusiasts. In her 1993 book, Nancy Grimes shed light on the enigma that is French, acknowledging the interpretive complexities posed by his unique symbolism. These difficulties are further compounded by the sparse information available on French's personal life. Grimes notes that two of French's closest associates, his wife Margaret and fellow artist Paul Cadmus, were as reticent as French himself, contributing to the elusive nature of his legacy. Despite the limited biographical information available, rough biographical outline helps us glimpse French's world, especially the triangular relationship he had with Margaret and Cadmus. This triangular relationship, often represented in his paintings, provides a key to understanding his work's cryptic symbolism. French's oeuvre often depicts men and women in carefully choreographed arrangements, hinting at complex dynamics of gender and sexual orientation. One such example is his pencil drawing Examination and Interpretation, 1943, where we see a chorale-like woman on one side and a smaller male figure on the opposite side of the composition. These figures, along with an androgynous central figure holding a frame, symbolize a duality of gender roles and an allegory for art's capacity to bring clarity to such complexities. The male figure, dressed in a robe reminiscent of a magician, forms a stable triangular formation with the other characters, symbolizing wisdom and the balance between male and female energies. This dynamic of androgyny, light, and dark is a recurring theme in French's work, underscoring his preoccupation with the fluidity of gender and the notion of artistic stylization as a tool for understanding human complexity. In The Strange Man, another of French's undated tempera panels, we see a similarly triangular arrangement of two dark male figures and one pale female figure. The androgynous dress of the female character, which recalls ancient Minoan figurines, suggests a blend of domesticity and sexual ambiguity. The female figure, offering her breast to a reluctant male subject, symbolizes the nurturing force of femininity. French's use of such motifs draws from a rich well of mythological and historical symbolism, creating a layered and multifaceted narrative in his paintings. French's fascination with mannequins, or artificial figures, also reflects his thematic exploration of human relationships and dependency. In his 1945 work Two Standing Nudes, a vertical mannequin stands beside a human figure, its doll-like posture emphasizing its reliance on its larger, more natural counterpart. French may have drawn inspiration from the ballet Coppelia, a story about a mechanical doll mistaken for a real woman, in portraying these artificial figures. This use of mannequins allows French to subtly reference controversial topics, such as homosexuality, without explicit representation. As seen in Cadmus Mannequins, 1951, where two male marionettes copulate on a copy of André Gide's Corydon, an apologia for homosexuality, the displacement of human figures by mannequins enables artists like French and Cadmus to engage with taboo subjects more discreetly. In Washing the White Blood from Daniel Boone, 1939, French once again tackles themes of dependency and control. The scene depicts Boone being held up by 5 Native American figures, their posture reminiscent of Eastern Orthodox crucifixes where Christ is not shown in suffering but reigning in glory. This interplay between Boone and his Native American acolytes speaks to a complex power dynamic, a recurring motif in French's work. The fabric used to bind Boone to one of the figures symbolizes bondage, a theme that reappears in French's later works like Figures on a Beach, 1940. In Figures on a Beach, as Grimes notes, we see a sleeping woman exerting a mysterious influence over 2 young men attending to her. This painting, with its allusions to both the Virgin Mary and Artemis, suggests themes of purity, chastity, and the complex relationships between men and women. However, when cross-referenced with another work by French, The Rope, 1954, this composition takes on new meanings. The rope features 3 young men connected by ropes to older men, an allegory for a certain kind of homosexual relationship. Here, the ropes act as a metaphor for control and bondage, an idea French revisits repeatedly in his exploration of power dynamics within relationships. D. H. Lawrence's exploration of homoerotic bonds in Women in Love may have also influenced French's portrayal of these dynamics. Lawrence's characters grapple with the tension between their yearning for freedom and their desire for connection, a theme mirrored in French's depictions of dependent figures and complex sexual allegiances. French's imagery, like Lawrence's, suggests an inherent instability in relationships, particularly those involving same-sex attraction. In paintings like Two Standing Nudes and A Strange Man, French alludes to this unresolved tension between the self and the other. French's work often blurs the boundaries between heterosexual and homosexual desire. For example, in Figures on a Beach, one interpretation suggests that the kneeling male figure is preparing to remove his loincloth, a gesture that might hint at sexual vulnerability. The woman at the center of the painting, who bears a resemblance to Margaret French, introduces the possibility of autobiographical elements within the composition. The inclusion of personal figures like the homosexual photographer George Platt Lynes further supports this theory, suggesting that French used his art to process and express his complex feelings toward his own sexuality. Woman and Boys, 1944, features a similar dynamic, with a woman in a Marian cloak standing in the foreground while two youths play in the background. One youth, carrying a rope, evokes the theme of homosexual bondage, while the other youth's pronged stave suggests a combative relationship between the two. The third youth, who stands between them, appears torn between heterosexual and homosexual attractions. This ambiguity and the tension between different sexual allegiances are recurrent motifs in French's work, reflecting his own internal conflicts. The painting State Park, 1946, further explores these dynamics. Here, a lifeguard and a boxer, representing contrasting expressions of masculinity, are depicted in stiff opposition to each other. Their discomfort contrasts with the peaceful image of a nuclear family seated beneath an umbrella. The toes of the father's foot extending beyond the boundary of shade suggest a faint connection to the more ambiguous, less comfortable relationships outside the family's shelter. Once again, French contrasts the tension of same-sex attraction with the seeming simplicity of heterosexual domesticity. In Help, 1946, French portrays a pale man rescuing a bronzed figure from the sea, echoing themes of dependency in salvation. The tanned skin, typically associated with athleticism, is here used to symbolize passivity and vulnerability, while the pallid rescuer embodies strength and control. This reversal of traditional associations challenges viewers' expectations and complicates the dynamic between the two figures. French's careful attention to skin tone, particularly in his depictions of himself and Cadmus, adds an autobiographical layer to the work. The interplay of light and dark skin tones recurs in other works, such as Washing the White Blood from Daniel Boone and The Double, ca. 1950, suggesting a deeper exploration of race, identity, and power within French's work. French's painting The Double, ca. 1950, as interpreted by Grimes, depicts a young, pale youth either rising from or sinking into a shallow grave. His double, dressed in more formal attire, kneels beside him, urging him to rise. Nearby, a relaxed young black man sits with his hands between his open thighs, while a dark-clad Victorian woman in the background looms ominously. This painting, like many of French's works, juxtaposes conflicting values, Victorian repression versus youthful freedom, and offers a meditation on race, sexuality, and spiritual awakening. In his later work, French continued to explore these themes. In Animus Anima, 1968-69, French presents an abstracted representation of male and female principles, intertwining them in a surreal and symbolic embrace. This late-phase work distills the core ideas of French's oeuvre, the blending of sexual energies, the struggle for autonomy, and the quest for self-understanding in a world of conflicting desires. Throughout his career, Jared French used his paintings to navigate his feelings about his sexual orientation and the complexities of human relationships. Living in a time when homosexuality was stigmatized, French, like his contemporary Paul Cadmus, used allegory, symbolism, and veiled references to explore taboo subjects. Cadmus's own work, often featuring thinly disguised homoerotic themes, mirrored French's preoccupations with the tensions between freedom and control, connection and autonomy, and the intersection of art, identity, and desire. French's work offers an intricate and layered meditation on the human condition, particularly regarding sexual identity, power, and control. His use of symbols like mannequins, ropes, and pale versus dark skin tones reveals an artist deeply engaged with the social and sexual dynamics of his time. Although much about Jared French's life remains unknown, his paintings provide a window into his inner world, offering a complex and multifaceted exploration of gender, sexuality, and human relationships. Through his enigmatic symbolism, French challenges viewers to look beyond the surface and consider the deeper, often hidden, currents of desire and power that shape human interactions.